Okay, we have what we call the you and I message. The you is accusative. The I is about my feelings. He just dropped the vase and busted it. Your Ming Dynasty $400,000 vase. What are you going to focus on? Focus on the kid? You are always so dumb. I told you not to touch that. You never do anything I tell you. What's the matter with you? Now you've broken this. It's going to take you 450 years to pay that back. And I'm going to get every nickel out of you. What am I focusing on? Does that sound kind of familiar? Yes. We can focus on the kid, or we can focus on the behavior. When you touch the vase, and touch things that don't belong to you, sometimes very valuable, you're young. You're 6 years old. You're not really coordinated yet. And it was heavy and slippery and you dropped it. I know you didn't mean to. Now you're concentrating on the behavior, right? But there's a better one. What about concentrating on the effects of the behavior? The effects of the behavior of touching other people's things causes great damage to this vase. It's lost for good. Or what happens when we leave the gate open is that the dog is gone now. And I don't know how we're going to find it. In other words, the effects of the irresponsible behavior. Do you understand? So try to focus on the effects of the behavior and not on how dumb the kid is, because that's destroying his image. What we're trying to do is modify the behavior. And we do it with an I message instead of a you message. That means that if you did this and you did that and you caused this problem and you did this and you did that, when you talk like that, what's the first thing the kid's going to do? Yeah, they're going to shut down. They're going to start shutting down. They're going to go into defense because it's an attack. When I say you, can't you just feature my finger shaking at you? You did this and you did that. I've told you how many times? You. You messages are very incriminating, very accusative, very damaging. So we want to stop the you messages. Do you want to punish and get angry? Maybe you figure you got a real anger coming. Maybe you've been collecting stamps long enough where he did this and I wasn't so mad, and he did this and I wasn't so mad, and he did this and I wasn't so mad, and he did this and I wasn't so mad, and that little sucker did this and I'm getting ticked. That's it. I don't ever want to see your ugly little face again. See, the guy allows it to build up and collect stamp till he blows. So the I message is what you want, and you use the FAB formula. F-A-B, FAB. And you don't accuse and you don't attack. And you say, I feel badly about the fact that the vase is broken because it's very valuable and I can't replace it. Did you hear the feel about because in there? The feel about because is what FAB stands for. I feel terrible when I come home and the house is all messed up because I had it cleaned. We're having a party over here tonight. I feel terrible about when I come home and it's all messed up and all the deviled egg sandwiches are eaten. You know, I feel bad about that because now I won't be able to serve my guests anything. In other words, I have the problem, right? I have the problem, and I'm owning that problem, and I feel bad about it. Is it going to do any good to rant and rave? This is the way it ends up. I feel real badly when I come home. I had everything all ready to go for the party tonight, and I knew I was getting home just in time for the guests to start arriving, and I had all the deviled egg sandwiches and everything in there. I feel badly about the fact that everybody's eating them because now I'm going to be without any refreshments for my guests. Therefore, you all run into your bedrooms tonight, and instead of fixing dinner, I'll have to refix the refreshments. But I'll see you in the morning. You see how the consequence follows? Just diffuse it. Please, please, please diffuse all the anger, all the emotion. What do your kids expect you to do if that happened? Don't they expect you to rave and go through your act? Right? They earned a show, man. All right? And they expect you to go through your act because that's what you've been trained to do. Does upset do anything? Didn't we learn that? Does anger do anything? Do they check you for anger? Do they respond to anger? Not positively. They respond to consequences. So you say, when I come home, I message, when I come home and find all the sandwiches eaten, I feel real bad about it because now I don't have anything for my guests. Therefore, all of you little sweeties, you run on up to your room. Mama loves you. I'll see you in 3 weeks. Okay. Now, this is very, very important. Don't just discount this. Go home and use it this week. And use it every time you can. And every time you get angry at that child and you start to say something, use an I message FAB formula. And you'll find that it's magic. All right. Now, we have time to do reflective listening. Reflective listening is a very, very important thing because it develops the relationship. If I have a big problem and I come in and I'm really upset, let's just say that I'm at school and I come home and I just come busting in the house. I'm never going back to that stupid school again. That dumb history teacher's going to flunk me. I know he's going to flunk me. He told me so much today. I'm never going back to school, and I got to have this dumb, stupid history thing to graduate, and I'm not going back to school anymore. Now, as a parent and I hear that, I can give an open or a closed response. A closed response is judgmental. It's giving advice, and it shuts down the conversation. A closed response would be something like this. What kind of talk is that? You know you got to go to school. I don't want to hear such nonsense as that. Is that a closed response? Where does the kid go from there? You know where he might vent the anger? If I'm non-sympathetic, he might just direct that anger right at me. Could you see how he could do that? Well, you don't understand anything. You don't even know what you're talking about. You know, and I don't. I could also say something like, it sounds to me like you're really mad. What happened? Do you want to talk about it? Oh, this is stupid. Is that an open response or a closed response? That's an open response. And so an open response invites more venting. It invites conversation. And you're saying, I'm here for you. I will listen to you. Why are you so upset? What's going on? Now, that doesn't mean I agree with you. Then there's the kid that comes home and says, I'll tell you what, I'm not going back to school ever again. And the dad says, why? And the kid says, I don't want to talk about it, Dad. You'll just get mad. You know? And they said, listen to your kids, because they got something to say once in a while. Dad, I don't want to talk about it, because I know you're going to blow it up. Hey, son, if you can't trust your dad, who can you trust? Hey, I got hold of myself. Whatever you tell me, I can handle. Dad, you can't handle this. I'm not going to talk about it. You're just going to blow up, and it's going to be a big thing. I will handle it myself. Son, please tell me. Trust me. Trust me. The boy says, okay, Susie's pregnant. What? What's the matter with you? I see. Well, an open response is being empathetic. It's saying, I'm not going to judge you. It sounds to me like you're really upset, son. It sounds to me like you feel betrayed at school. It sounds to me like you feel that you were really embarrassed in class today when the teacher called on you to do this and you didn't have it ready. Yeah, I was embarrassed, and she knew it because I told her beforehand. She called on me to embarrass me in front of the whole class. Sounds like you think that was kind of a rotten thing to do. You're darn right it was a rotten thing to do, you old bat. Now, should I say at that point, please don't call your teacher an old bat? Is that going to do any good? What's going to happen? You think your teacher's an old bat? Yeah, she's an old bat. And after a while, do you know what sometimes what happens? After they've talked and after they've vented, they'll say, hey, what's for dinner? They're through it. Can you remember that? That your child needs that. People need emotional vents. They need this emotional bowel movement. You might say, well, not on me. But the point is that yes, on you. That you can be there. I understand. You must have felt terribly rejected. You need to allow the child to vent until it's gone. And then you say, do you feel better? No, I don't. Well, you can come talk to me whenever you want. And as long as you're non-judgmental, honestly and truly, you don't start giving advice or be the psychologist, but just listen. There's one whole therapeutic theory that is set up just to sit and listen. You pay your $100 and you goes in and you sits down and you start talking to the guy. He goes, I see. And all he does is repeat back to you everything you've said. Why do you keep repeating back to me what I say? You think I'm repeating back to you what you say. You know, and it sounds ridiculous. And in that sense, it is ridiculous. But they allow the person to vent and to talk and just keep talking. You want to know, some of your best friends, what do they just do? They just listen. And a kid that's all bent up with emotions, and as emotions is going and going and going, he's not good for nothing else. You say, how you doing? You say, shut up. Because your tolerance for pain is very low. Now, this reflective listening is a case where what you want to do is to reflect back the feelings and the content. And so that when you're reflecting the feelings, you sound like you are very, very angry. Here's some words. Some of us can't even think of words. And they go through and they give us a big, long list of these words, all right? Abandon. Now you feel, it sounds to me like you feel. Or I hear you sing. Or are you? And you can guess at these words. But listen to some of them. I'm not going to do a whole bunch of them. Abandoned. Taken advantage of. Afraid. Agitated. Alone. Ambitious. Amused. Angry. Anxious. Apprehensive. Ashamed. Embarrassed. Does that make sense? All of these words. Dumbfounded. Incapable. Comfortable. Compassionate. Competent. I'm concerned. I feel confused. I feel afraid, cowardly. I feel crushed. Do you see all these words? We're not in tune with our feelings, and so we don't use these words. And when your child comes in and they're crying and they're sobbing, ask them, how do you feel? When I came in there possibly as a child, and many of you, when you were crying, you'd be told, don't cry. Some people can't stand to see people cry. So say, don't cry. There's nothing to cry about. It's okay. So the kid says, what's the matter with me, man? I feel awful. Pretty soon they don't even trust their own feelings. They start to question their own feelings, like, I shouldn't be afraid here. I shouldn't be frightened here. I shouldn't be sad here. I shouldn't be too happy here. We don't allow our children their feelings. And so in reflective listening, you reflect back what they're saying, the content, as well as the feelings. So when the kid comes in and says, I'm going to quit school, and the dad says, gee, there must be something more to it than just deciding to quit school. It's not like something real happy happened today. He says, yeah, Dad, this happened. But if the dad, as soon as he hears something, criticizes him or judges him or start giving him advice, you think that boy's going to talk? Do you think that kid's going to talk? If they feel judged or condemned, they will not talk. They don't want more criticism. They don't want more put down. And sometimes kids will say, you always put me down. You never listen to me. We judge them. Well, do this or do that. And they don't want advice. When I ask you to listen to me and you start giving advice, you have not done what I asked. When I ask you to listen to me and you begin to tell me why I shouldn't feel that way, you're trampling on my feelings. When I ask you to listen to me and you feel you have to do something to solve my problem, you have failed me, strange as that may seem. Listen. All I asked was that you listen, not talk or do, just hear me. Advice is cheap. You can get both Dear Abby and Billy Graham in the same newspaper. And I can do for myself. I'm not helpless. Maybe discouraged and faltering, but not helpless. When you do something for me that I can and need to do for myself, you contribute to my fear and weakness. But when you accept as a simple fact that I do feel what I feel, no matter how irrational, then I can quit trying to convince you and get about the business of understanding what's behind this irrational feeling. And when that's clear, the answers are obvious and I don't need advice. So please listen and just hear me. And if you want to talk, wait a minute for your turn and then I'll listen to you. Is that powerful? We need to be heard. Is that respecting a person to listen to them? If you ignore somebody, is that an insult? But if you listen and you give them your time and you give them your attention and you say, sweetheart, go ahead and explain to me how you feel. Is this what you're feeling? Yeah. Is this what you're afraid of? Yeah. How come? Because of this and because of that. With no censure, no judgment, no advice, no solutions. Just shut your face and listen. And if you do that with your kids, they will trust you and be able to confide in you without feeling you're going to judge and condemn. This reflective listening is very, very powerful. Some people call it active listening.